Morning, everybody. Let's talk about group dynamics, group communication. When you get a group of people in one room, it's like all these stories and worldviews and everything are just all combined, and you're trying to move everyone toward a goal. But typically, there are multiple levels of the communication that's happening, right? And so the project for the week is just one. It's a group brainstorming project, which is actually a harder thing to do than you think that it is, because we tend to gravitate toward that which we know, right? And the secret of brainstorming or group brainstorming is to stay in creative thinking and not go over here to critical thinking, right? If you've been in church or some type of organization like that, you've heard someone say, well, that's not the way we've always done it, right? Because we tend to gravitate toward the thing that we know, and we tend to do that thing, right? So it's a hard thing to maybe create something out of nothing. Many years ago, I had a youth group. I was a youth pastor for a long time, and we were planning the year's activities. And so I got these big sheets of paper, and we threw them up on the wall, put every activity that we typically did during the year. We put camp, retreat, lock-in, all these things up on the board. And then I took all the sheets away, and I said, okay, now you have to come up with a year's worth of program that doesn't include any of these things. And they were like, how can we do that? So we started brainstorming, we started talking. Eventually we came up with this youth group night at the Oscars thing that we bought a red carpet and folks dressed up. And we brought in a photographer to take, professional photos. And we had youth group members making mocktails, and we gave out awards to volunteers and youth group members and different folks in the community. To my knowledge, none of us had ever heard of anything like that before, but we came up with that because it took away all the things that we would usually do. And it was one of the most successful events that I've ever done in my life. But it was only, I think, because I took those sheets of paper and I put them away, because we tend to gravitate toward what we know. And we tend to move too quickly into critical thinking from creative thinking. And so this week, it's a simple activity. You may never have done anything like it in your life, and I just kind of want you to learn with it and experiment with it, right? That when you get in a group, the loud people tend to talk and the quiet people tend to hang back. And part of the group dynamic is drawing out those people who are quiet. If you notice somebody who's not contributing ideas, you might ask them, well, what do you think about this, whatever topic that you're choosing, right? How would you approach that? Or you might even ask somebody who's just nonstop talking, hey, take a step back so other people can get in there, right? The idea is that we're doing yes and. So if I get an idea, the next person says yes and, because I'm going to validate that idea that we just had. I don't want to invalidate it. And I want to say, yeah, and I want to build on that. I have had groups where I actually put a jar out in the middle, gave everybody dimes, and they had to put, I gave everybody 5 dimes. And if they didn't start with yes and, they had to put a dime in the jar. And once they ran out of their 5 dimes, they couldn't talk anymore. Because it's really important that we create this atmosphere where everybody is welcome to share. Everyone is encouraged to share. Everyone's ideas are validated. And I think that one of the things that I don't do many group projects as a college instructor, because it's just hard to create that equality across the group. Seems like somebody ends up doing all the work. And so as you pick one of the topics for the week and you gather some people maybe this weekend, and you're going to video it, and then you're going to answer some questions for me on how it went, right? What's hard? What's easy about this? What could I do better? What skills do I need to do this better? Because it's very, very difficult to pull something out of nothing. If you're going to create something new and you're brainstorming that, or you really feel like we've just gotten stale doing the same thing over and over again, and you want to brainstorm something new, that's a harder project than you think it's going to be. We think, oh, well, that'd be easy. And it's not. We tend to reach for that which we know. We tend to go to critical thinking too quickly, and there's no place for that. I just announced a show, and some of my students are the show. It's not helpful, right? That doesn't help us move down the road where we need to be going. And so the project for the week is a group brainstorming project. It's the only one. I just want you to focus on this thing. I don't know that there are 1,000 right answers in this, but I want you to do your best. I want you to try and draw out, try and make sure everyone shares their ideas at the table. You need to figure out how you're going to record the ideas. Probably somebody needs to be the recorder in the group, right? Because there's nothing worse than having brainstorming ideas and then not writing them down or not capturing them somehow, so that when you go back, you were like, what were we talking about? Now, I need part of it at least. I need a couple of minutes at least on video so I can kind of watch you and see. I don't need to see the whole thing necessarily, but I do need some video, and then I need you to answer the questions this week in regard to the process. Trust the process, right? We're going to gather some people together. We're going to try and include everyone equally. We're going to think about that yes and, where we're building on the last comment, right? We're not gonna go to critical thinking too soon. We're gonna stay right here. We're gonna remember that there's a lot of experience in the circle, some of which we don't even know about. That there's like a novel waiting to be read. Everyone has a story. Everyone brings things to the table, and we want to bring that out, right? That's kind of what group brainstorming does. Is it says, hey, I think you have something to add to this process, and I want to draw it out. So how are we going to do that? Well, you may never have done anything like this really in your life. You certainly may never have led it. And as the leader, you're not going to fundamentally be pouring tons of ideas out on the table. Your job is to try and facilitate discussion, to facilitate ideation, to facilitate people sharing with one another. So give it a try. Let's see how you do. Make sure you put some video up. Make sure you answer the questions. You need at least 3 people in the circle. 5 is even better if you can find them. And let's go to town. Take one of those topics and let me know which one you're going to do today. And then the rest will be due at the end of the week, okay? All right, y'all take care.